Fearless Leader here, wanting to go through a homework problem with you. This is from our first problem set in Module 1, and I just wanted to give you a feel for some of the different resources at your disposal when you're working through these problems. So let's say you're trying to solve this problem. What is an observational study? What is a designed experiment? Which allows the researcher to claim causation between an explanatory variable and a response variable? Well, maybe you read this and you're like, I don't know what an observational study is. So I want you to resist the urge to just guess. Click on Question Help, and what I would first recommend you do is go to the textbook. And notice that the textbook's going to open in a pop-up window, and even better, this is going to take you to the relevant section of the textbook. So there's even less page thumbing than with a traditional textbook. So now let's go back to the problem. What is an observational study? Well, look at this, distinguishing between an observational study and an experiment. How convenient. So observational studies and designed experiments. So let's read these studies. Take a moment to read these. You can pause the video if you need to once I get them up on the screen. Come here. There we go. Okay. So now that you've read the videos, turn the page, and notice you can't turn back because it's only opening this section of the book. Click here to turn to the next page. Now, notice that we have some important terms here. Explanatory variable affects the value of a response variable. So in this study, we had the response variable was whether or not brain cancer was contracted. The explanatory variable was the level of cell phone usage. So that kind of makes sense. An explanatory variable tells us whether or not it is about affects the value of a response variable. So now here is the definition we need to solve this problem. An observational study measures the value of the response variable without attempting to influence the value of either response or explanatory variable. So if you like, you can even highlight that without, and I know it might seem redundant to highlight it since it's already in a box, but I just want you to know this tool is here. And I've used this tool quite a bit in my copy of the digital textbook. And notice that you can adjust the alignment of the highlighting if you like. Let me turn that off. Escape, go away. So you can move that around, pretty handy. You can delete it if you want, if you highlight something you didn't mean to, or if you decide you don't want to highlight it, whatever. So now let's go back to the problem. I'm going to move this. This is definitely what we just read, so we know that's the correct answer. And notice, aren't you glad that we read first, because you only get one shot on this. So this is the definition of an observational study. Yay for us. What is a designed experiment? Well, I should have left the book open. Silly me. What was I thinking? Well, let's open it again. And again, this will take us exactly to the section we're looking for. It's a little slow to open, but oh well, what are you going to do? Notice that our highlighting is still saved. If the researcher assigns the individuals in study to a certain group, intentionally changes the value of an explanatory variable, and then records the value of the response variable, you have a designed experiment. So let's go and find, that's definitely not a designed experiment. Measures the value, but then intentionally changes the value of an explanatory variable. This is definitely part C, question C, or response C. That is a designed experiment. Now, which allows the researcher to claim causation between an explanatory variable and a response variable? Let's see what our choices are. So pause the video. Which one of these do you think makes sense? Is it a designed experiment or an observational study? Okay, an observational study allows you to notice differences, but it absolutely does not give you any evidence of causation. A designed experiment does allow for this. And that's it. So the textbook is one of the resources you can use to help you answer questions, especially with these multiple choice type answers with a lot of text. I really encourage you to go use the textbook to help you solve these problems. It will not take you that much more time than just guessing, and you're going to learn a lot more from it. So I hope this video was helpful.